So we are getting close to the end here, and we're having a lot of fun. For those of you who just love fortune cookies, you can install the fortune package, and you can get a fortune whenever you want, like telling you to exercise caution in your daily affairs. Just fortune right there. Repartee is something we think of 24 hours too late. I don't know what repartee is. Sorry, Mark Twain. I don't know what that means. These are just fun applications. In this video, what we're actually going to be talking about is how to use a program called Webmin to get a little bit of a graphical user interface to our server to manage the server. Now, I know some of you are going, like, why didn't you tell me that I could manage my server with a graphical user interface before now? Some of you are like violently mad. I can hear the keyboards being picked up and thrown at me. But the reality is you need to know how to use an Ubuntu server without a graphical user interface. Nevertheless, you're not going to catch this guy saying that graphical user interfaces don't make things easier, because they very often do. Just so long as you understand what you're doing with the graphical user interface, or the GUI, as long as you understand what you're doing, I think it's fine to use it. However, you really need to get down and dirty with the server first so that you understand what you're doing. You understand how it's operating, what it's expecting, and how it functions. Okay? That being said, a little more fun with fortune here. I showed you Cause in the last video, and you can actually pipe your fortune into Cause with fortune pipe Cause. Oh, he will pass away very quickly. That is an incredibly sad fortune. And on that note, let's go ahead and pull up the page for Webmin. So visiting webmin.com and then the deb.html file, we'll get our instructions. I'm going to be walking through this installation with you. It's not as simple as, just doing sudo apt get install webmin. Instead, we're going to download the .deb file. Because remember, Ubuntu is a Debian-based Linux distribution, and we'll be using wget to download that .deb file to our server. So I've copied that over here, and now I'm going to paste it into the shell, hit enter, and let this download. Once the download is finished, we will proceed with the instructions over here on webmin.com. Okay, so the download there is complete, and it's going to be in our current directory, which is the home directory. So here in the home directory, you can see webmin1.740.all.deb. That is the Debian package file that we want to install. After downloading, it tells us here to use dpackage, dpkg, in order to install the package. Now, they mentioned dependencies down here, and I have a pretty good feeling it's probably going to scream for some of those dependencies, so I will show you how to resolve those. Super user privileges, silly me. Sudo dpackage, let's try that again. Okay, so as I assumed, some dependency problems here. No worries, the Webmin people have you covered, all right? Down here, if Debian complains about missing dependencies, you can install them with this command. Okay, you can see there's a lot of stuff there, but if it's already installed, it won't be a problem. So we're going to go ahead and try to install all of this. I don't know what I'm doing right now because I'm not using sudo. So I've already messed this up once. Let's make sure that we type sudo in there, and then we can copy the command in there. You will need root privileges, obviously, in order to install. Okay. Let's see. It's not going to be installed. Unmet dependencies. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So having a little bit of problems here. That's good for us to walk through this together. I'm noticing here it says if you are installing on Ubuntu and the apt-get command reports that some of the packages cannot be found, then we should check out our sources.list file and make sure that the lines ending with universe are not commented out. I don't feel like that's our problem. We're actually getting an unmet dependencies error here while we're trying to install the dependencies for Webmin. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and check out our etc. apt sources.list file, and make sure that universe is not commented out. Let's see, we've got universe right here, and no, it is not commented out. So that looks good. Okay. Doesn't look like a problem in there. Instead, let's take a look here. Let me go ahead and we will do sudo, as it's recommending up here, apt-get f install. And this is going to fix our install, or attempt to fix the install, so that we no longer have unmet dependencies. All right, so it's setting up Webmin. You can see there above it that this may take a little while. And while it's doing that, let me talk a little bit about Webmin and how we're going to use it. Again, Webmin is going to give us a graphical user interface so that we can configure the server using our web browser. So what we will end up doing is typing in our host name or IP address, which in my case is 10.0.0.15, followed by a colon and then 10,000. So we'll be logging in through that port. And if we go over here, you can see that, okay? Once the install is successful, you can log into Webmin at localhost 10,000, or again, your IP address or host name here. I'm connected through SSH, but it's on my local network as 10.0.0.15. And well, it says that right there. Or if accessing remotely, replace it with your system's IP address. Okay. So let's see how our installation is doing over here. It appears to be done. Webmin install complete. You can now log in. Woohoo. Again, you can see the host name here. We can use our host name or we can use our IP address. Let's go ahead and try it with our IP, colon 10,000. You can try this with your IP address, which you can get with ifconfig, or your host name. And let's see, it's running SSL mode, so we need to do HTTPS instead. Okay, now this is the part where Chrome and other browsers, they're going to throw a fit. Not really a big deal. We're going to proceed on because we know that everything is safe. And now we can log in to our system using our username and our password. And we have a whole host of options over here. Most of the ones you're going to be using are going to be under System. And there's also some pretty cool stuff under Other here, SSH logins, Perl modules, a lot of cool stuff there. File Manager, that stuff is awesome. For as far as servers go, you'll love this if you're managing a Samba file server. Man, it's really awesome to do some Samba management this way. Again, I want you to understand why I didn't show you Webmin first, okay? I wasn't trying to be cruel. I did it because you need to understand what you're doing with Webmin. Webmin is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. You need to understand, you know, the basics of how the server is operating, okay? And so that's why we covered all of that first, and then I think something like Webmin is an awesome tool to use. Same thing over here with scheduled cron jobs, which we covered. Instead of having to go into the cron tab, then you can actually create new cron jobs and manage your cron jobs right here. Okay, so you can see create a new scheduled cron job, and you can select here the user that you want it to execute as. That would be Cody, or it could be root. Okay. And you'd put in your command. You can have a description. And here, you know, this is a little bit nicer, I guess, easier than having to type it all into the cron tab. But again, you can understand why you need to know how to input your information into the cron tab. So we had a few hiccups there with the installation, and I'm glad that we walked through that together. So refer to this video if you're trying to install Webmin. Remember, we simply use wget to download the file. The instructions were right here on webmin.com. It was all pretty easy there, just a few hiccups. We went to install it. and it wasn't too happy about that. We tried to install the dependencies they listed here. It was still complaining about dependencies, and so eventually we ran sudo apt-get f install, and that ended up fixing our Webmin installation. We got the success message right here, and now we can tell that everything is running correctly as we are logged in at our IP address and then colon 10,000. Let me go ahead and see how it reacts with my host name here. Again, it gives me the error, proceed to test serve, because I know what it is, and see that works as well. So have fun with Webmin. It really can make your life a lot easier, but try not to rely on it too much, because you really need to know how to operate things on the server level, on the shell level. But check out Webmin, and it is a powerful tool, and so I hope that it helps you out in your journey toward Ubuntu server greatness.